Good morning. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Dark Roast. I am Donna Stroll, and I'm here with the beautiful and talented Rose Short.
What
And
up?
today's discussion is going to be CRM.
Yes.
Which sounds boring, but it's actually not because it is what's going to help you get your poop in a group, basically. Right?
Yes. Yes. Because CRM is fantastic, but the best CRM is the one that you will use. So definitely want to make sure that it's something that jives with you. And that can be as simple as an Excel spreadsheet, honestly. And then it can be, as high end as you need it to be.
Yeah. So, it's really about where you, as always, starting where you are. Okay. So, let's start off with the simple basics. I'm sorry if you can hear that. We have a biker bar that's just down the street. So, we have a lot of Harleys that go by. Um,
Nice.
yeah. So, we'll start with the basics. And that is, what is CRM? So, CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management System, and so basically, it's your Swiss Army knife, right? It helps you manage your customers' data, track your interactions, tell you when you need to do things. Like where your next email has to go out or your next contact has to go on. Unless you know who you've actually talked to, where they are in your sales funnel process, or your onboarding process, all of those things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep, it's fantastic. It tracks your leads, your customers, affiliates, even. You can organize it by tags, segments, things like that. When we say build out your automation and your email sequences, that's where this is where you would build it out. Now, obviously, that's not something that you could easily do in an Excel sheet, but you can build out your emails in an Excel sheet and copy paste or in a Word document. The repetitive tasks, the weekly newsletter, things like that. It just kind of helps you get all that out, helps you nurture your leads without dropping the ball, without having to be on Facebook all the time, and really without the stress, right?
yeah. And companies that use CRMs do see an increase in their sales. Some by up to 29%, according to Salesforce, which is a massive CRM, right? They can improve your customer retention by like what, 27%. So, that's pretty impressive.
It keeps you front of mind, right? Like
Yeah.
people forget things very easily, but if you're, monthly emails popping up in their inbox, they're opening it because they're invested. It's going to help just keep you fresh in their brain.
It also helps you, where maybe you talk to or sent out your emails or sent out your Facebook messages, however you do your business, because a lot of affiliates use a messenger system, right? A chat system. Maybe you haven't talked to them in a week. And this is a good way for you to stay on top of it. It also lets you control like who's, maybe they're a cold lead or a warm lead. Businesses that do use CRM, they see an average return on investment of over $8, almost $9 for every dollar spent. And I cross referenced that stat because I was like, is that true? And yeah, multiple sources came back and said, yeah, it's $8.71 for every dollar spent, which, another good reason to use your CRM or to get one in place.
Yep, and that's why people always say the money's in the list, right? Like I get tired of hearing it, but they're not wrong.
Yep. And your list doesn't necessarily have to be your email list.
Yeah.
It's just your lead list, especially when you're first starting out. So, having a basic CRM when you're just starting out and utilizing your social medias and stuff like that, but being able to know who you've reached out to and going back to them, that's important.
Yeah.
Um, so, yeah, like if that doesn't give you a heads up on why it's important.
Yeah. It's also really good as you're building out your team, right? Because now you have visibility across all team members. Like how many times have you heard about a business where like they had no idea what the sales guy was saying or doing or promising customers or, We had it a lot with ISAs that we tried to hire to call our warm leads or our cold leads for real estate. And eventually, like, they would basically leave that company and take a bunch of the leads with them because they were kind of working their own side gig at the same time. So it kind of gives you oversight to avoid those big oopsie moments.
Yeah.
But it also helps you know who you're contacting, right? And like, how many times have you sat down to send an email and been like, oh shoot, did I already send this email? And then you either have to go, I apologize if this is redundant, or you can go back and look and be like, oh yeah, no, I emailed them. And I mean, you can do that through a normal, inbox as well. Go through your sent, but this just makes it a little more automated and a little easier. And then again, you can see if they're opening, if they're clicking, if they're responding, if they're unsubscribing. You can put a greater quiz on why are they unsubscribing, right? So this has become very common lately where you hit unsubscribe and it pops up like, why are you unsubscribing? Is it irrelevant to you now? Are you getting too much email? And then if you click on getting too many emails, they'll be like, well, we can send you less, and basically they'll move you to a different automation that only messages once a month instead of once a week or something like that.
Yeah, it does
And
digest and stuff like that. Because I was actually subscribed to a newsletter or something for email marketing, and it was like every day, and it was too much for me. I was like, I don't want to see this every day, and so now I get a weekly roundup of all the
yeah,
information, which works fine for me. That's one email a week is good. I don't need every day. That's too much. I have enough clutter. So
right, yeah, but that's all
yeah, oh, we lost you a little bit here. So
on the tag shifts.
yes.
I'm not
Oh, we
sure if
lost
I'm
you
frozen
for
or
a
if Dawn
second
is
there.
frozen. I'm gonna keep going
I can still hear
just because
you,
I'm not
even if you
sure.
seem a little stuck.
Um,
There you go.
the other thing that CRM can do, especially if you are the one that is overseeing affiliate programs, you can log your affiliate partners, track their commissions, the campaign performance, things like that. Segment it by tier as well, right? So if you're doing um, a competition with multiple affiliates, you can track your VIPs versus your newbies versus your in betweens, things like that. Communications, payouts, all that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
then, as we always talk about automating and whatnot, it's going to save your sanity in the long run, right? Like, solopreneurs are stressed out all the time, right? Because you are the content creator. You are, I think it's actually me that's frozen.
I can hear you just
Um,
fine.
you're the content creator. You are the email writer. You're everything, right? So,
Yeah. You're the marketer, the content creator, you're the
just trying to
accountant,
see
you're the
real
artist, you're everything
fast.
all rolled in one. So having something that sort of keeps track of everything for you is helps you stay on top of things is definitely a sanity saver. It also, allows you to build some loyalty with regular touch points by, without having to manually schedule every single one of those things that you're doing. Um, you know, Having some regular touch points built in allows you to build some loyalty. Oh, we lost her for a quick second. I mean, we could see her, but there she is. We can see you just fine, dear. I don't know if she can hear us though. All right. So, there are some features that you can really nerd out on. So, like tags and segments, like you had mentioned earlier. You can create categories like a hot lead or potential affiliate or VIP important partner or cold as ice. So, like they're brand new, they've become, they've clicked on and said yes, they'll be your friend, but that's it. You don't really know them from Adam. You can filter your lists really quickly so you don't have to dig through all your emails or all your voice chats or whatever, depending on which CRM you're using and how it's managing your social media. It's a great way to filter them if you tag them when they come in. So you use those tags and then you break them down into segments, and it makes it really easy to know where people are in your process and whether or not you're just doing quick follow-ups or you've already tried to reach out to them multiple times and there hasn't really been a lot of feedback. You can move them around and just know that this is somebody that you're just going to keep in your nurture pile and versus somebody who's, super cold, brand new, or somebody who's super hot. And, we'll take them next. Um, poor Rose is having some trouble. And let's add you to the scene. There you are.
Hey,
Okay. So did you hear what we were talking about just a second ago?
I popped over to Facebook to find out what the heck was going on because I
Ah,
wasn't sure if I was frozen or you were frozen. So I think you just finished up tags and segments.
I did indeed. Yeah, we could hear you,
Perfect.
but and see you popping in and out, but
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure because like you were frozen for too long, so I was like, maybe it is me. So that's why I kind of stopped talking. My bad. So yes, fantastic. Uh, Picking up
um,
on that.
okay,
All right.
so yeah, the next thing is your pipelines or your stages. So you can visualize your sales affiliate process like a board game. You know, you see at what stage people are interested, engaged, committed, paid, and this allows you to track them around that board. And then also, maybe they got to a certain point and now they're back a few steps. And using those tags and segments allow you to actually move that, or put them on a different email list, or they've already paid. They've gone around the board. Huzzah. They passed go. They gave you $200 and now and now you got to put them in a different pipeline or in a different process. And with your CRM, you can track that a lot easier than just like, where were they? What did they do? And also not dropping them once they've paid, which is really huge in maintaining that customer loyalty, not making them feel like, once they gave you money, you just bailed, right? You don't want to be constantly pushing them, but at the same time, they invested in you. So make sure that you're investing something back into them.
For sure.
Yeah. The next thing would be email templates. You can, save some time. You don't have to retype the same email to every new affiliate because you can save those. Lots of times you can save those emails or snippets within your CRM, which then you can just pop it off and, and you can personalize it, but you don't have to like rewrite. You don't have to reinvent the wheel every single time you get a new affiliate or new lead. You've got something there that you can work with.
Yeah, and personalized too. Like you
Yeah,
can, instead of having to put everyone's name in, you can put the block in. But test your emails because I've gotten so many emails where I've gotten that and I've responded and been like, "Hey, check your formatting because this says, dear first name, not dear whoever."
yeah,
Um, and then it lets you integrate things like crazy too, right? Like you can have your CRM hooked up to your specific business email. You can hook it up to affiliate platforms, payment processors, website forms, all kinds of stuff, right? And so, like, the pop up where it's like, "Oh, give us your email for 10% off." Like, that's exactly what that's doing is sending that email address to the CRM so they can send you the information and get you on their list to remind you of them and to order from them. So ConvertKit, ThriveCart, Zapier, all those kind of things just make it really easy to automate and track.
yeah. Like you combine all those things together, and then all of a sudden you've got this wonderful trackable workflow where somebody buys something, and then in their Thrive card it shows you your stats and everything else. Zapier, I believe allows you to combine some stuff, maybe your email, and then you got your CRM that's tracking it all, and it's just a nice, happy little board, where you can see where everything's going.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how many people have abandoned a cart and then gotten the abandoned cart email? Like that was huge for a lot of companies because all of a sudden that abandoned order could be saved. And I
Yeah.
don't remember the exact stats on that, but a lot of companies saw a massive uptick in revenue just from having the ability to track that the customer left and the email automation sequence started going.
Yeah. Because people save things to their carts because it's something that interested them, but maybe they weren't ready to buy it yet, but they also didn't want to lose it. But then they get distracted because squirrel. And
Yep.
and so those reminder emails really help people to, oh yeah, I wanted that, and go back and take a look at it. Or maybe they wanted to do some research and you're the only one that reached out back to them and said, hey, this is still, it's still there. And a lot of times those abandoned carts will also give people like a coupon or something like that for like 10% off or whatever. Hey, come back now and buy that order. And it's like, cool. I left you and you gave me something.
Yeah.
Pardon me.
Exactly.
So there are some action steps that you can take to get started without getting super overwhelmed. I mean, the first one is to pick your CRM, right? So you start simple. Now, like we said, you can utilize a spreadsheet if that is something that, if that's where you're at. You can even look at Notion and see if maybe they have some that are already built out that all you got to do is plug and play. So you don't even have to create it, you just have to work with it. Um, or you can get into a more robust system. So HubSpot is free. There is obviously a pay option to it, but HubSpot actually does a lot for free, so it's a good place to start. Zoho, Mirror Life, if you're, those are all ones that you could look into if maybe putting a lot of money output right at the front line is not where you're at. And then when you're ready to level up, there's Active Campaign, Go High Level, which we have talked about multiple times, which is really an everything tool, or Carta. If you're looking for more features, it just depends on what you want there.
Yeah. And then you got to just think of it as the buyer experience, right? So, what do you want the workflow to look like? How do you want your customers to be treated? Kind of thing, right? Like, how do you get them into your CRM in the first place? So, are you doing a quiz capture? Are you doing an opt in? Or is it purchases only? Is it website visit? How are you getting them into your ecosystem? And then what do they need after that, right? So, you pretty much always want to do some kind of welcome sequence, right? Like, hey, thank you for subscribing, or a secondary opt-in email, even just to make sure that they knew they were opting in for something, and then follow up from there. If they're there for information, make sure you're giving the information. If they're there for a sale, make sure that you're updating them on future sales, things like that. Like, map out your follow up as the buyer, not as the business owner.
Yeah, and that applies whether you're using messaging or email or however that you're working that. I would suggest that when you're looking at implementing a CRM, figure out which one's going to work best for you. Because if you don't do a lot of email marketing, then maybe one that's email heavy isn't going to be the right option for you. And there are ones that are specifically dedicated to social media follow up. So you just have to find what's right for you. And then, yeah, figuring out what they need next. And that can work for all of those different types of platforms. You want to make sure you're segmenting early. So, sort of even before you get started sending stuff out, or, before you start using it, set up some basic segments. So, like cold, warm, hot, even if that's where you're starting from, cold, warm, hot, paid, do it like that, and then you can sort of break it down more, or subscriber, affiliate, customer, however you want to work it. Maybe you set up your early ones very quickly, and then you can build it out as you grow and as you get more comfortable with your system. And then when you're doing your automations and setting up those, if they come in here, send them this or reach out there, those kinds of automations that come as you get more comfortable with your system, you can build it out on these tags, and then you can adjust those tags as you go along.
Yep. Nailed it. And then, like, review it weekly, right? Maybe see if your pipeline, any of the leads have gotten stuck. See if your email automation is sending the same email multiple times. I've had that happen. It's kind of embarrassing. See who needs a nudge. See who's not opening. There is a lot of availability now with automation to send an automatic email if they haven't opened 10 emails and say, hey, I noticed you're not opening the emails, do you want to be unsubscribed, right? Because then it keeps your list clean. And cleaning your list is super, super important. You don't want bounced emails. You don't want people who are reporting you as spam, right, instead of unsubscribing. And make sure you have an unsubscribe. That's huge. But make sure affiliate commissions are up to date. I have one program I am constantly having to email them like, hey, you created this payout a month ago, I still haven't been paid, what is
Yeah.
going on, and then adjust accordingly.
Yeah, always be able and willing to adjust, because things change. Maybe you grow. Maybe somebody who was, maybe you've got some people who were cold and then they've moved and now they're back to being cold, and you have to be willing to do that. Maybe you look at your sequence, because if they were warming up and then all of a sudden they're dropping back again, maybe there's something within your sequence, maybe there's something within your communication, maybe you're hitting them up too soon, maybe you're not hitting them up soon enough. Right, these are all the things that you need to take a look at. Your CRM will allow you to track that, whereas if you're just winging it, maybe not.
Yeah.
There are some areas you want to focus on, especially if you're into affiliate marketing. So, your pipeline, you need to know who's who, you know, who's active, who's not, who's actually, showing interest, being viable, and who's not, and really seeing where they're at in that pathway. Right from the beginning to, maybe they're dropping back, and that's something that you're going to just keep on a comfortable nurture basis. Maybe they haven't really bought, so you just touch base with them once a month, because you never know, right? Maybe that's just not the right time for them, but it allows you to stay in contact without losing that person, which is important because your affiliate business is built all on your networking and the people that you have in your sphere and how you're reaching them. Sorry. And then you were talking about email.
Yeah, so email engagement, right? Like who's opening them, who's clicking the links, and that's not just buying links, right? That's maybe you're sending them links to your YouTube. Are they actually going there? Blog links. Are they actually checking out your blog, or do they not care? Who's ghosting you, right? Who's not opening at all, and who hasn't opened the emails since the welcome email, things like that. And then again, you can respond and be like, "Hey, I noticed you're not opening. Do you want to be taken off the list? Like, what's going on?" And sometimes you'll get snarky emails back. Like, I just don't respond to every email. It's like, okay, cool. But like, you're not opening them either. So what's going on? But if they're not opening them, they're probably not going to respond and open that one unless your subject line is really good. And that's where you can look at your subject lines, right? And are they not opening them because my subjects suck, or it's unclear what it's about? Or did you use way too many clickbait subjects and pissed off your entire list, right? Like, there's many things that could be happening. And then again, payout tracking, right? Like, you want to make sure you're getting paid, and if you're the one running the program, your affiliates need to get paid. You've got to be on top of that. It's super, super important for your trust and your integrity as a business owner.
Yeah, for sure. And then, it allows you also to create a resource hub. So, it's a simple place to share assets, links, images, swipe copy. um, so that if, pardon me, hold on a second.
Yeah, it's a great way to make sure that anybody has what they need, right? Again, if you're the one running the program, you want your affiliates to have access to social media swipes that are doing really well, links that are doing well, case studies of the split tests you've done, so they know what to do. Especially if you're looking at affiliates who are potentially going to run ads for you or for
Mm-hmm.
your program, you want to make sure they have everything they need to run a good quality ad.
And it works well for you too if you are the affiliate, because you have all those resources in one place, right? So if you have swipe copy, or if you have, certain ads or images that you've created to help build your brand, because we always talk about branding yourself. So having those all in one place, and then if you do end up hiring a VA or something like that, a virtual assistant, then that allows you to bring them on board and have them have all that information and that stuff right there for them, so that they can do the job that you're asking them to do without them constantly hounding you,
Mm-hmm.
and without you having to dig through your computer going, I know it's here somewhere, it's on my phone somewhere, right? It's right here. So that is
Yeah.
super helpful. That's an excellent part of having a CRM, is having all that stuff in a single place where you can track it. And if you end up having, we start with one VA and then you end up having three people, this is a great place for you all to work together and, build out your business. So it's a great place to start from and to grow from.
Yes. Love it.
So that's about it, right? Bottom line is CRM is not just for big business, right? They're for
Yeah.
anyone who wants to have some control over their business and to really, not constantly be winging it, trying to figure out who did I talk to last? When did I talk to them? Where is this? What is that? It's just that way to help get it all controlled. Today you might not care, but tomorrow you is going to really be thankful that you took care of this.
Yeah. One of my favorite stories of something like this is actually from the dog training world. So I know this dog trainer who, when he first started out, partnered with somebody else. And that guy's entire focus was the name and the branding, right? That is all he cared about. And eventually, these guys went ahead and split. And the guy was like, I'm keeping the name. And the other guy was like, that's fine. I want the client list. And the guy was like, that's fine. Like, as long as you're not going to take the name or the branding, like, that's fine. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, the one guy knew the end vision, knew what was important, right? And what was important was the clients, taking care of the clients, getting that ready. The name didn't matter. And so, we often think about like, oh, I need to do the branding, I need to do the imaging, I need to get my logo, I need to get all this kind of stuff. And that's all kind of secondary noise to who already has faith in you, like who you already contacting, who's already buying in, right? As you get it more professional, obviously it's going to help down the line. But if you're just starting out with an affiliate program that you like, but you've built your social media presence, you already have no like and trust with a lot of those people, they're going to love to see the evolution of the branding and the professionalism. They're not going to care that it's not like that in the beginning. So don't get too caught up with the logo and the branding and all that kind of stuff. The list is where it's at.
Yeah, and knowing having control over that, having, like you say, having the machinations in place to build your business, is going to be more important to you, every step of the way. I mean, yes, you want to have your brand, but that may change as you grow through your business. That's going to change. I mean, businesses that have been around forever still continually change and evolve their logos and their branding. To some degree, the branding maybe not so much, but their logos and the image that they're putting forth. But so having this is going to definitely help you tomorrow and next month, and as you grow, as long as you, and maybe the system that you use today might not be the system that you use. Oh my god.
Yeah, the system you start with might not be the system you end with for sure. And one of us is frozen again, and I'm not sure which one of us it is. Kind of love it. But yeah, so if you can't hear me, if you're not using with CRM yet, absolutely now is the time to start. You probably have some resources already available if you've been contacting anybody prior to this. If you're managing it on your own, if you're juggling different programs that you offer, oh, it looks like it was Donna. If you are, like segmenting, maybe you're in different niches, you can segment, health niche, wellness niche, finance niche, whatever it is. So you can run multiple facets of your.
If you found this helpful, please drop a comment, share, and hit that subscribe button. Your feedback is super helpful in growing this channel.
And of course, if you have any questions or if there's any specific thing that you would like us to talk about, drop that in the comments too. Happy Friday!
Happy Friday, everyone.